Today's video is about something very disturbing that the left and the far left have been pushing for in Portugal for many years, but the past few years have been horrible, to be honest. It's getting worse and worse every single time. For the most part, I talk about economic policies that have been disastrous for this country. But when you can revert those policies, you can already see positive effects in just a few years. Obviously, if these bad policies were applied for decades, then we will probably also need decades to fix it. But it's still something that we will see positive effects in just a few years. However, what I'm going to talk about, if it can even be reverted, will take generations to revert. So let me get back to the end of 2019 to talk about something that the socialist government did with the support of the far left, which is to pass a law that bans flunking in primary school. Yes, that's right. The socialist government, with the support of the far left, wanted kids in primary school to never flunk. Regardless of their grades, they could know nothing about math, they could know nothing about Portuguese, biology, geography, they could have the poorest grades ever. They would still pass. However, this isn't the only thing that I wanted to talk about because it's related with another thing that the left and the far left did when they took power in 2015. And ever since then, they started applying their radical leftist ideology. And one of those things was to create a course called citizenship. And this course was supposedly about teaching kids how to live in a society, how to be moral, how to be ethical, etc., etc. But then you start learning exactly what's being taught there, and it's the purest leftist ideology, like kids going around with the LGBTQ flag. And so these kids are being indoctrinated. But if that wasn't enough, there's another detail, which is the fact that this course is mandatory. Kids need to pass this course to move to the next year. And this is exactly what was the problem for two kids. They were amazing in every single discipline that matters: math, Portuguese, English, geography, biology, etc. They had excellent grades in everything else. But their parents, apparently good parents, paid attention to what they were being taught in school. And when they saw this citizenship course, they did not allow their kids to frequent those classes because they understood that this was pure ideology. They don't want their kids to be indoctrinated. And what did the left and far left state do? They flunked the kids, of course. So let me do a recap of what's happening in Portugal. On one hand, kids cannot be flunked in primary school. They don't need to know anything about anything, really. Doesn't matter if they have very poor grades, they will still pass. They will be moved to the next year. However, if you do not pass the citizenship course, even if you have the best grades ever in any other discipline, then you will flunk. And this is the reality in Portugal right now, and this has been gradually getting worse. Every single year, every single time that the left is in power, which in Portugal, unfortunately, is almost every year, things just get much worse. And so this is a generational problem because we cannot recover from this. This next generation is lost already. They are being indoctrinated. They don't even learn anything in schools. They just go from one year to the next, regardless of them even going to classes. They just pass because that saves money for the government. Because that's the reason they claimed why they were going to do this. They wanted to save 5,000 euros per student, which meant a 250 million euros saving per year in education. And this is funny in many levels. One of them is the fact that this is the same government that was claiming the end of austerity while wanting to cut 250 million euros from the education budget. On the other hand, they are making sure that kids don't even know anything, but they still pass. And then they also have this course, the citizenship course, which is pure ideology. Kids learn nothing of use in that course, yet if they don't pass this course, they will flunk the year. But if they don't pass math, well, that's okay. This is Portugal right now, and there's very little concern about this, especially at the time of a pandemic, of course, because the socialist government has been using the pandemic to pretty much do whatever they want. Now everything is justified, and then as I mentioned in other videos, they have control over everything, and everyone that should be opposing them simply doesn't. In this case in particular, the subject of this video, this is a generational problem. We are condemning these kids to have no future, absolutely no future. And by condemning these kids to no future, we are condemning this country to have no future. And this is how the left and the far left ruin countries. They destroy them completely. There's nothing left. Portugal is lost economically. Portugal is lost socially. Portugal is without a future. Anyway, I hope you like this, and I'll see you next time.